The first question relates with the chapter Nature and Scope of Biology. Friends, please remember शायद ये जो नाम है चैप्टर का ये आपके टेक्स्ट बुक्स में शायद नए टेक्स्ट बुक्स में मेंशन भी नहीं है. But this chapter is very important in terms of all the competitive exams. And in my series of all the challenging MCQs, if you really follow, a daily practice of 15 to 20 minutes with me can definitely help you to revise. The question here is, zoology, botany and biology are the Greek terms. The father of biology and zoology is Aristotle. Who is the father of botany? And your options given are A. Aristotle, B. Theophrastus, C. Hippocrates and D. Darwin. And the correct answer for this question is B. Theophrastus. Friends, Theophrastus was a student of Aristotle. He was a botanist, a scholar, a biologist, a physicist, and all his contributions that he made in the field of botany made him get the title Father of Botany. इनका original नाम था Tertimus, and he received this particular nickname Theophrastus from Aristotle. क्योंकि Theophrastus इस word का मतलब होता है divine speech. You might be remembering that he was the first to attempt to classify the plants on the basis of their morphological features, that is on the basis of their height, girth and branches. He had classified the entire kingdom Plantae into 3 groups based on this, such as herbs, shrubs and the trees. I hope you remember this. I take you to the next question, that is, the next question relates with the structure of the cell, and the question is, of the 5 properties listed below, which are the most important in relation to the function of the plasma membrane in the living cells? First, selective permeability. Second, strength. Third, elasticity. Fourth, hydrophilicity. And fifth, fluidity. And the options given are A. 1 and 2, B. 1 and 5, C. 2 and 3, and D. 1, 2 and 4. And the correct answer for this question is 1 and 5. That is, selective permeability and fluidity are the most important properties in relation to the function of the plasma membrane in the living cells. Now friends, what is selective permeability? I hope you recollect. It is nothing but it is the property of the cellular membranes to allow only selected molecules to enter or exit the cells. And this movement can happen actively or passively. Active transport, passive transport. For example, water molecules can move passively through the small pores on the membrane, which we normally very commonly call it as osmosis. I hope you remember this. So molecules जो होते हैं वो जो selected molecules in and out जा सकते हैं. The molecules of oxygen and carbon dioxide pass through the membrane, and this is possible via diffusion. Another example of selectively permeable membrane, मतलब other than the plasma membrane, is the inner membrane of an egg. याद रखिएगा. Now what is meant by fluidity? Fluidity से समझ में आता है कि the capacity of remaining in the condition or in the state of fluid. Now why is fluidity important? Why membrane must be fluid? See, membrane must be fluid so that it works properly. Because if it gets solidified, then the permeability factor changes. Okay, a permeability factor change हो गया तो क्या problem होना है? Many of the substances might not really be allowed to enter or exit out of the cell, even though it might be literally essential. Now, most of the lipids and some of the proteins drift laterally. मतलब lateral movement होता है उनका. Please look on the screen. What do we really mean by the lateral movement? I will just show it to you. Look here. So here you can see is a fluid mosaic model which has been taken. The green structures are the phospholipid molecules, the rounded head which is hydrophilic, and the blue bipolar tails which are hydrophobic. And you can see the pink arrows here which show the lateral movements which I was just talking about. And the lateral movement of the phospholipids is rapid. Okay, lateral movement of the proteins is slow, and the flip-flopping of the phospholipids is rare. A flip-flop movement यानी क्या, इधर का जो molecule है इधर जाना, इधर का वापस इधर आना. In simple words, here it is a kind of exchange. Now you will be surprised to know कि यहाँ पर ये जो yellow structures बीच बीच में जो draw किए हुए हैं, I mean you can see this in the picture, these are cholesterol molecules. Now हम अक्सर सुनते हैं कि cholesterol यानी something which is bad, but literally cholesterol is also essential because cholesterol molecules, they reduce the fluidity but also prevent the solidification at the low temperatures because they prevent the tight packing of these phospholipids. Because you can look on this diagram here, this is what is meant by the viscous viscous nature of this. This is what is meant by the fluidity. You can see this is a polar head and this is a hydrophobic tail. The head is hydrophilic and the tail is hydrophobic. अब ये tail जो है ये normally ऐसा होता है, but sometimes its structure is slightly changed. It gets a bend and this is called as kink. So these are unsaturated hydrocarbon tails with kinks. And जब kink हो जाता है, मतलब ये bend हो जाता है, ये curve हो जाता है, तो इन molecules के बीच का space थोड़ा सा open हो जाता है, जिसकी वजह से the fluidity is possible and also exchange of substances becomes easier. अब इस साइड में देखिएगा आप लोग, सैचुरेटेड हाइड्रोकार्बन टेल्स है, तो यहाँ पर आप देखोगे कि यहाँ पर कहीं पर भी किंक्स नजर नहीं आते. किंक यानी कि बेंड या कर्व. सो यहाँ पर ये विस्कस बन जाता है, और विस्कस जब ये बन जाएगा तो परमिएबिलिटी डेफिनेटली इज रिड्यूस्ड. Okay, so permeability is also somewhat controlled by the cholesterol. Again, I've taken this picture. You can see what is meant by the kink here and what is meant by the viscous thing here. I hope you have understood this. It's very, very important to remember that cholesterol in mammalian membranes reduces the membrane fluidity and permeability to some extent. Okay, so please remember cholesterol is also present in the membrane and it is important. It is important because कभी कभी ये भी question घुमा के आ सकता है कि the plasma membrane is made up of dash, and I can give you option phospholipids and proteins, phospholipids, proteins and cholesterol. So at that time you have to pick up this option, that is phospholipids, proteins as well as cholesterol. And now take you to the next question. The next question relates with the chapter photosynthesis, and the question is, which set of terms most accurately describes the pathway taken by a molecule of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to the point where it enters the Calvin cycle? And the options given are A. Stomatal aperture, intercellular space, mesophyll cell wall and chloroplast. B. Stomatal aperture, epidermal cells and chloroplast. C. Stomatal guard cell, intercellular space, mesophyll, cell membrane, chloroplast. D. Stomatal guard cell, intercellular space, phloem sieve tube and chloroplast. And the correct answer for this question is A. That is stomatal aperture, intercellular space, mesophyll cell wall and then chloroplast. Now you know in the word stoma, ये stomate जब हम कहते हैं उसका मतलब होता है pore, and here the stomata is found in the epidermis of the leaves, stems and other organs, and that helps in the exchange of the gases. Now ये जो stomatal pore या opening होता है, look on the screen please. This opening या pore is covered या supported by a pair of specialized parenchyma cells which are called as the guard cells. I'm trying to help you to revise up the structure of the stomata here. So you can see these are the guard cells जो stomata को surround करते हैं. And these guard cells are important because they regulate the size of the stomatal opening. Okay, so you can see here the guard cells actually helping in opening the stomata, and here they have closed the stomata. Stomata अगर open होता है तभी तो exchange of gases will be possible, right? So this you can see on the left side. I've taken up a pic that shows you that this is branch having the leaves, and the leaves having, I mean, taken a section. Here it shows the stomata, then it enters up the chloroplast, and here it is actually going to be utilized. And now take you to the next question. The next question relates with the chapter Organisms and Environment, and the question is: nitrogen is often in short supply in terrestrial ecosystem because A. There is very little free nitrogen in the air. B. Atmospheric nitrogen is primarily in the stratosphere and does not often come in contact with the terrestrial ecosystems. C. Atmospheric nitrogen cannot be used by most organisms and needs to be converted to useful forms by bacteria and cyanobacteria. And D. Nitrogen solubility in the water is low, and thus atmospheric nitrogen enters the cells very slowly. And the correct answer for this question is C. Atmospheric nitrogen cannot be used by most organisms and needs to be converted to useful forms by bacteria and cyanobacteria. Friends, remember, nitrogen is very important and needed for the plant growth. It is found in the healthy soils. It gives the plants the energy to grow, to produce fruit, vegetables. Nitrogen is an important part of the chlorophyll molecule. And chlorophyll, as you all know, is in but obvious vital structure required for photosynthesis, right? So nitrogen के बिना chlorophyll ठीक से नहीं बन पाएगा तो photosynthesis कहाँ से होगा, right? Now plants get their nitrogen from the soil and not from the air. The act of breaking apart the two atoms in a nitrogen molecule is called nitrogen fixation. Plants get the nitrogen that they need from the soil where it has been already fixed by bacteria, cyanobacteria, which might be present in the soil. Now, plants को हर एक plant को nitrogen की जरूरत है. But the question is why they can't use the nitrogen directly from the air. This is because nitrogen itself is unreactive and it cannot be used by the green plants to make protein. So nitrogen needs to be converted into nitrate compound in the soil by the nitrogen fixing bacteria in the soil, the root nodules, or the lightning process. Okay, and deficiency of nitrogen can result in yellowness and general poor growth, stunted growth in the plants. Please remember, nitrogen is also going to be required in the production of the nucleic acids. Okay, so it has been found that nitrogen definitely is essential for production of chlorophyll, as well as it is important because it's going to be a component of the nucleic acids, which you know is a genetic matter present in all of us, and it is a major component of the amino acids, the building blocks of the proteins. Friends, please look on the screen for you to get an idea of this. The nitrogen in the air, you can see this. The nitrogen in the air gets an entry into the soil layer by nitrogen fixation by rhizobium and azotobacter. It is also going to be fixed, or this process being called as nitrification, जहाँ पर nitrogen is converted to nitrites and nitrates by nitrosomonas bacteria. There is also a process called as ammonification and denitrification. Denitrification that's done by bacillus. All of these are going on simultaneously in the soil, from where the nitrogen can be made available for the plants to grow. जब है ना ग्रीन कलर जो प्लांट्स का दिखता है डार्क ग्रीन रहेगा तो उसका मतलब समझ जाओ कि नाइट्रोजन अच्छा खासा है, क्योंकि जैसे मैंने कहा कि इट इज प्रेजेंट इन क्लोरोफिल, it is also seen in the alkaloids, vitamins, cytochromes, and nucleic acids, amino acids. So in short, this is the reason why at times nitrogen is called as the backbone of the plants. This is a very important point, याद रखिएगा. एंड ऐसा नहीं है कि एटमॉस्फेयर में नाइट्रोजन नहीं है. एटमॉस्फेयर में नाइट्रोजन करीबन 78% है. But as we know ki it is unreactive gas, that is the real reason why most of the plants they can't take up the nitrogen in the form it is existing in the air. So many farmers they use up fertilizers so that they can add nitrogen to the soil to help the plants to grow larger and faster. Even you will be surprised to know forest fires जो होते हैं, they also add huge amounts of nitrogen into the soil, which is at times considered to be good. Of course, it's not good in terms of the ecosystem as a whole because it's destroying a natural habitat. Okay, so I now take you to the next question. The next question relates again with organisms and environment, and the question is an association of different interrelated populations belonging to different species in common environment which can survive in nature is called as dash. And the options given are A. Herd, B. Family, C. Biotic community, and D. Population. And the correct answer for this question is C, that is biotic community. Friends, what is exactly meant by this? Why is it important? Let us understand this. You might be already aware कि a herd, आपने सुना रहेगा, you might have heard about the herd, right? Now, what exactly is this? It's just a group of organisms. Okay. Now, let us understand कि जो herd यानी क्या होता है, तो all those organisms which move in a group, that is normally you hear about herd mentality and blah blah. Now, in terms of ecosystem, you can look on the screen, you can understand the molecules come together to form cells. Cells, a group of cells, it forms the tissues. Tissues form organs. Organs form organ systems. Organ systems form an organism. Organisms form a population. Different populations inhabiting a particular area simultaneously becomes a community, and community along with its non-living surroundings becomes an ecosystem. And then the highest level in this hierarchy is biosphere, that is the part of the earth that contains all such ecosystems. Now, please remember कि community concept जो है, this is very important principle in ecology. A community is an aggregate of organisms which forms a unit. And the size of the community may be large, like हम सुनते forest community, या small, एक छोटा सा garden है वो community. So different communities occur in different habitats. The composition and the character of a community is an indicator of the type of environment that is present. Now, the structure of the community is dependent on the number of the species in it and the relative number of individuals in each species that resides there. Okay, on the whole, it is simply a highly integrated, you can say self-contained organic unit. Okay, so all the organisms that live together in a place is community. And community ecology is the study of interactions among all populations in a common environment. You may be knowing that the communities can be further classified as major communities and minor communities. Friends, what are major communities? These are those communities of sufficient size and completeness of an organization. मतलब ये इंडिपेंडेंट होते ऑफ द रिसोर्सेज फ्रॉम adjacent communities, ये सेल्फ कंटेन्ड है, they depend and they receive the solar energy directly. Whereas minor communities, as the term tells you, minor, the group is quite smaller, but and also important thing is that more or less they will depend on the neighboring communities for the energy. Okay, so they are the subgroup of the major communities. Friends, hope you have understood this. And please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, comment, and suggest whatever you want to in the comment box. Thank you so much.